It is the homemade broadcast. It is episode 567. My name is Will Kuncz. This is, where is she? No, Anna. Well, Anna was here, but she had to dip out. Her camera wasn't working, so she'll be here momentarily. As you can see, I'm not in the Oval Office this week. Had a very busy day. I couldn't fly up to DC to get into the Oval Office to hang out with the prez. There's the cat. She probably wants to get out now, of course, because it just started. Hold on. Let me just let the cat out. This is good. Oh, come on. Get. Very good. Sorry about that. Gosh. Good afternoon, everybody. Had a very busy day today. I didn't set the green screen up. I came in here, set this up, set on a link, and jumped on. Very busy day today. Lots of work to do. I'm back in the gym. I did it all last week. Went to the gym today. Just got back a little while ago. The headband is back, ready to rock, and so am I, baby. So I hope everybody's well. hmbradio.substack.com. We do the extra half an hour, which we will do today. You can get that audio only podcast right after we conclude here, which is the benefit there. It's also a really nice way to support the show and give us some love. So I would suggest, even if it's the free one, you get the audio only podcast. You don't have to wait till Sunday till this reappears. If you're not able to join us on Wednesdays at 6 p.m., you can get the free podcast, 30 minutes right after it concludes, audio only. I know that's how, especially out and about, driving around, you can't really watch a video. I know video's the future or the present, really, of media, but you can't watch a video when you're driving around or doing stuff. So, audio is still good for something. That's how I consume most of my product, is just audio only. Or even if you're just sitting around working or whatever, you got YouTube on, like, how often are you actually watching something? It's mostly just background noise, right? I'm happy to be background noise for you. So thank you for joining us. Oh, here she is. Howdy.
Sorry about that.
All good? How you doing?
Okay.
You're just doing okay. I heard you're feeling a little ill.
Yeah, it's probably good that I stayed.
Uh-oh.
It's one of those things where this morning felt pretty strong, and then as the day progressed, it seemed to get a bit worse. But that's okay. That's okay.
What do you think?
I don't know. I started to get a sore throat probably about 5 days ago, and that's usually the indication my body goes, hey, just letting you know, if you mess around, it's going to get pretty ugly. And I said, whatever, and then went to a concert and maybe took some extra stuff and didn't sleep properly and danced my heart out. And then my immune system was like, okay, well, this is what we told you was going to happen, and then just fell ill. But that's okay.
Yeah, that happens. Usually, and I don't want to jinx myself here because we are rolling into summer. I feel like Florida hits summer a little earlier than the rest of the country. It's Florida, but usually I get a nice summer bug at some point, which is another big. You were like, I'm fine, I'm feeling okay, but I'm ripe for that summer bug, so I didn't want to get it now.
No, totally. I understand. And you seem to, like, no offense, but you seem to get sick pretty easily.
Oh, really? I don't think that's true. I used to. I think I don't really get sick that often anymore.
I don't know. I feel like every time I talk to you, you're not every time, but like, you go to Key West or you go away to a wedding weekend, and then it's like, I think it might be, it may be just like sinus stuff where it's not really contagious, but it's just like your own system hurting itself. But I don't know. I feel like I never get sick, and then all of a sudden the last 6 months I've been sick like 3 times. So I'm frustrated with my body, and perhaps it's just bad luck. Perhaps it's my advanced age. I don't know.
Yeah, you are old. Happy birthday. Your birthday's tomorrow, right?
It is. Yes. Thank you very much.
40 years old tomorrow.
Can't believe I'm 26. Yeah, I'll be 38 tomorrow.
Wow. That's a
Yeah.
tough one. 38's a hard age because you're
Why?
lingering in the back of your head like I'm almost 40. And 39, you kind of accept that next year you're going to be 40, but 38, you're kind of like, I'm still
Still
in
got
my
it.
30s and young, but it's lingering, and it's like the most that'll ever linger this year. Now that you're in your 39th year.
Yeah, I have a distinct memory of New Year's Eve 2016. Like it turned 2016. And I was with my best friend Deba from home. This is before I even moved to Florida. She took me to a atrocious party. Terrible. It was all like Latin dancing. And I don't like Latin dancing, and to be honest, I don't really like Latin music. And I had cramps. I was just like, "Get me out of here!" And I remember the clock strikes 12. Everyone's like, "Woohoo!" And my first thought is, "Oh my god, next year I'm gonna be 30."
Yeah,
because it was the 2017 I turned 30, and I was like, "Next year I turn 30," and that was such a terrifying thought. And then next year, I'll be having the same thought of next year, I'll be 40.
right. This is really the last one, though. 40 is the last frontier as far as really caring about your age. I guess there's 50, and maybe I'll feel differently as I approach 50, but I don't know. I feel like now that I'm 40s was a big one, 30 was a huge one. I feel like it was more of a vibe shift 40 was for me.
What 30 was?
I think 30 was the bigger, like, God, I'm 30 now, rather than, oh my God, I'm 40. Like, I've been 40 for a long time. Physically.
Yes. Now, do you feel like there's more of a conjunction with you now being 40 versus you then being 30? Like, was there a bit of cognitive dissonance where you're like, I don't feel 30, but I am 30 versus now you're like, I am 40 and I feel 40 is okay.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I'm 40 and I feel 40. When I was 30, I still felt like a kid, and I was kind of living like a kid even in my 30s. So, yeah, I'm fully in the grumpy old man middle age stage now at 40. So,
me too.
Yeah, so you'll handle 40 fine when it comes. But happy birthday.
It's like, well, how does one handle? It's like it's coming, like it's happening. And I try to remind myself, like every time I see someone that is like in my mind, like blissfully young or something, I'm like, in 10 years or 20 years, they're gonna be right where I'm at. Like we're all moving in the same direction. I tell that to everyone who's older than, oh, you're young, like, you don't know old, like I'm old. I go, listen, we're all moving in the same direction towards death. So
it's a positive
whether you're 70 now and I'm 38, and 30 years I'll be where you're at, like we're all moving in the same direction to the grave. So
yeah. Garrett says happy birthday. Okay. Warthog says happy birthday.
Oh, thanks, Warthog. I appreciate it. I think I got your message on Twitter. I think that was you. You wrote something nice to me, and I appreciate that. So,
and Mike says it's a privilege to get old. Not everyone gets to do it. Amen.
I hear that a lot. Doesn't help. Doesn't help. It's true. It's so true. I'm not trying to take away the fact that it's untrue. It's certainly true. It just doesn't help. You go, yeah, shut up. But thank you, though. I do appreciate it. And you are correct. Like, it is a privilege because, I'm lucky I didn't die of leukemia when I was 5 or SIDS when I was 2 months or whatever. Like, people in a car accident, whatever. Things happen to people. And I'm so grateful that I've made it to whatever age I'm at. But it's still a mind F,
Sure. What are you going to do for your birthday? Any plans?
No.
No plans.
It reminds me of the quote from your father, Tim, I believe. It's what I've embraced. I know you know which one I'm talking about. The what is it? At a certain age, your birthday is just another day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one he haunted me with when I was a young boy, and I think he was pretty young back then too. I think he might have been like in his early 30s, and he just told me I was really excited because it was his birthday, and I was like, "What are we? I mean, it's your birthday, bro. Like that's a special day. What are we gonna do?"
Yeah.
Threw that down on me that yeah, it just doesn't matter at a certain age. It's just another day. And that's not really true though. I mean, it is, but you should still like do something nice for yourself at the very least. Take yourself out to
Um,
a nice
yeah,
dinner or something.
yeah, we'll do something, but as of right now, there's no definitive plans, which is
Okay.
fine,
Yeah.
totally fine. I
Right.
like it that way. I prefer it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Birthdays are they're tricky ones because when you eat too much hype, you get disappointed. Not enough hype, you're depressed. Like you just gotta listen. I'll be happy with the few texts and calls I get tomorrow. I've removed my birthday off of Facebook. I don't want people to
Yeah,
know about it.
I don't do
'Cause
that
it's
either.
like, this person I met 10 years ago, drunk in a bathroom, like, you're going to wish me happy birthday. Like, thank you. You didn't have to do that. But like, it's just, and they even let you like auto fill in, like, hey, do you want to wish on a happy birthday? It's like, enter, click, done. I don't need that anymore. If I get a call from my parents and a few friends, like that's cool. That's
Yeah.
fine.
It's also a good friendship test too. Like if
Yeah.
somebody they remember your birthday and shoot
Remember.
you a text or it's like people that you actually are in your circle, not like a social media circle. It doesn't really, those people, no offense, don't matter. It's not that they don't matter. It's just they're peripheral people in your life that
Sure.
shouldn't
And
know
like
your
totally. And I appreciate their wishes all the same. But like I just it's like it's contrived like politeness.
yeah.
Like, don't do it because I'm like advertising it's my birthday and I really want you to say happy birthday to me. Like, I'd rather you just genuinely reach out to me like on my like if you have my cell phone and you know it's my birthday, great. That means a lot more than some like random person on Facebook I met once back in college. So, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's meaningless when it comes from like the outer orbits of like your life, I guess.
Well, I'm gonna take you to lunch or something. I was thinking about getting you something, but I couldn't
Lunch
think of
would be
anything.
great. Yeah, maybe not tomorrow because I don't want to get you sick. I don't know where I'm going to be at, health wise. But like, yeah, next week would be awesome. That'd be great.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday. I hope it's
Thank you.
enjoyable anyways. I'm sure you'll do something.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to talk about this, Anna, because it kind of, I guess, could be a birthday. Like if you a celebration, I guess, more than anything else. I love this story. I saw it earlier in the week. This Powerball winner from Kentucky does what anybody would do if they won the Powerball. They headed down to Florida.
Yeah.
And they get a nice room at the Trade Winds, a very nice place. Have you been to the Trade Winds?
No, where is it exactly?
In St. Petersburg. It's a very
Okay.
nice resort. Very fancy, very expensive. I mean, this guy won $167.3 million, and now he's in jail. I'm sure he's bonded out by now if he has the money. But although if he just won, you probably don't have the money, right? How long does it take to get the money after you win a lottery?
I have no idea, but I would assume that it's probably not like an instantaneous thing.
I would assume that as well. I
Yeah.
wonder if this video is anything to do with the story or if it's just a video. Let's find out real quick. Oh, it's nothing. Not working. Okay. Well, anyway, so here's what happened. According to an arrest.
Hail. Now the winds are a problem. But this time of year.
That seems like it's weather. Okay. Can I just say something to news? Like you don't need to put a video in. If it has nothing to do with the story, don't put a video in. There's no, you don't need it. It's distracting. Anyway, so here's what happened. According to an arrest affidavit filed by the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, James Farthing is his name. He's 50 years old, still young, $167 million worth. Got into a fight with another guest at the Tradewinds Resort shortly after 11 p.m. What do you think the fight was about? Because I kind of have a feeling in my head. What do you think it was about? They don't say, by the way.
No, okay.
How about this? I'll just I'll tell you. I think this is a guy probably from, let's just say, a working class home his entire life. He looks like he might dig ditches for a living previously. And I think he got a room at this hotel and didn't look the part. You know what I mean? Probably showed up in his, stained clothes and beat up boots. And I have a feeling he just threw his weight around a little bit and just did the thing like, you think you're better than me? Well, guess what? I just won the Powerball. I'm worth $67.3 million. And probably some guy said, I don't care. And then he probably just had too many Michelob Ultras and let him have it, is I think what happened.
That's probably fair. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would do. I'm only saying that because that's what I would do in this situation.
Or, I mean, if you kind of scroll up a little bit, it says something about his girlfriend being put away for disorderly conduct, or intoxication. So maybe she was acting out of pocket, and he kind of stepped in to protect her or her
it could
honor. I don't know.
I love her name too, Jacqueline Fightmaster.
Perfect name for a disorderly intoxication charge.
Yeah. A deputy tried to break up the fight. Investigators say that Farthing kicked the deputy in the face and then tried to run away. Deputies arrested Farthing on charges of battery on a law enforcement officer and resisting arrest. His girlfriend, Jacqueline Fightmaster, was also arrested on disorderly intoxication.
She's kind of cute.
You think he's cute?
No, she's kind of cute.
Yeah, she is. You can tell because that's like no makeup, drunk.
You know what? She's had work done.
Oh, I'm sure. Do you think this is a new girlfriend? Like he just met this chick? Maybe he went to a strip club?
Maybe, but you made the assumption of like working class, and that could certainly be the case. But looking at her, I mean, it takes money to get that level of Botox and or filler. She's definitely had, it looks like in the frown lines, looks like she's had some filler. It looks like she's had some Botox. It looks like she's had some lip filler as well. That'll take a lot of money.
I get stripper vibes from her because I think she's pretty. I mean, she doesn't look great there in the picture.
I think she does.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, she looks pretty good. Like, if she was all gussied up, you'd be like, wow, she'd be a head.
I mean, she looks way better than what I expected from someone with a disorderly intoxication charge.
The vibe I get is initially he's from Kentucky. He found out he won and then just immediately went to the strip club and started throwing money around. And he probably let this broad know that he just won the Powerball.
Yeah, that's certainly plausible. She's clearly a bit, even with work done, she's quite a bit younger than him.
Yes. Well, at least that's what it looks like. He's 50. I mean, she definitely looks younger than 50.
She looks like she's probably, I would guess, mid-30s.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think that's a good guess. So, and then he was probably like, you just want to be my girlfriend? And she was like, sure.
She's like, yeah, I would love to not be a stripper anymore.
Yeah, right. And then they just got wild. They're not the typical paid wins crowd. You know, it's
right.
People who are newly rich. So they don't know how to act in a nice place. And
what do they call that?
Nouveau riche.
Oh, I had another word for it, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, his arrest came 3 days after a Powerball ticket he bought in his home state of Kentucky matched all the winning numbers for $167.3 million. On Monday, he spoke to WKYT in Louisville about his newfound fortune, saying, I'm always buying lottery tickets because I'm like, somebody's got to win.
Well, he's right.
He won. I mean, it is true. It's so unlikely. It doesn't even matter. I won't even buy a lottery ticket now. I remember when 100 million was like, okay, I'll throw my hat in the ring. Now it's $1 billion. If Powerball's $1 billion, I'll buy one, and just one.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what are the odds going to change if you buy 10 or 1 or 20? It's pretty much 1, no matter what.
I mean, you double or triple. I mean, you can time 10x your odds. Yeah. But it's still so infinitesimally small that it like statistically doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But that's what you do. I mean, if you win $160 million, you kick a cop in the face. I mean, you got to do it. I mean, it's fun. It's going to be worth it in the long run for sure.
Yeah.
I just love that story. That's just like a true American dream, kind of.
It really is. Yeah.
Fantasize.
Good for them. Wish I won the lottery. That would certainly help a bit.
We had 2 animal attacks as well. Did you see these?
I saw the one that happened in New York.
No, I'm talking about in Florida.
Oh, okay.
An alligator ate a 61-year-old lady and a bear in South Florida, I believe. First recorded bear attack in Florida. And we don't have like grizzlies here. These are just brown bears. And I don't know if brown bears even eat meat, to be honest. I think they're kind of small. They're kind of amazing creatures because they're so big. They're still really big.
I feel like all bears are carnivores. Maybe I'm wrong.
Let me check.
Let me see. Brown bear diet.
See, black bears eat meat.
This says they're omnivores, so they eat both plants and animals.
Okay.
I think it's just like whatever is around.
Relatively small part of their overall diet. Black bears eat meat, but it's small. So they're mostly just foraging for berries and other crap.
You said brown bears, right?
Black bears.
These are black bears?
I don't think we have grizzlies in Florida. We have the
They're
black
doing grizzlies, but is it a brown bear? Is it a black bear?
I think a brown bear is a grizzly bear.
Let's see.
It's Fat Check Podcast today.
Let's see. Okay. It says, yes, a grizzly is a type of brown bear.
Oh,
all
really?
right. So what are the kind we have in, because there's like Kodiak bears and all sorts of things. So what type of bears are in Florida?
Type of bears are in Florida. We got the Florida black bear.
Florida black bear. Okay.
Yeah.
Smaller, less aggressive subspecies of the American black bear. Got it.
Interesting. So it's even smaller than a normal bear too. They're not really around. I don't know if I've ever seen one in the wild or anything, but I think it was the first recorded bear attack that led to a fatality. It was an old man in Florida, killed the dog. They didn't really say, when I first read the story, if it just said like bear involved. Didn't really literally say that the bear caused the death, but maybe they didn't know at the time.
You think if it was a polar bear, it would have been different?
A nice white bear?
They would have been this polar bear aggressively caused the death of this fine old man versus like, I don't know, this bear adjacent incident.
The bear was traveling peacefully, mostly peacefully through the woods and came across the man. He was called slurs.
Yeah.
We have a story about that too. I want to do that in the Substack one because I want to curse. But oh my God.
I did a deep dive on that story.
I
didn't know about it until you put it. I think I like maybe heard about it, but I like didn't investigate it. But I did like hours long research into that today.
Oh, good. Okay, we'll talk about that in the free portion. Yeah. But I do, since it's kind of local. I mean, this one is, where's Davenport? Davenport, I think, is pretty close to here in Tampa. See gators all the time. I saw a huge gator at Hillsborough River State Park. I mean, a big one. I would say.
Big one.
And I see them all the time. Lake Seminole has them. And I was thinking, it's just amazing to me that more encounters don't happen, especially with people walking their little chicken nugget dogs close to the water at Lake Seminole.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe that they don't jump out of the water and just scoop them up real quick. I mean, they're a tiny little nugget of a dog.
Right.
They're just, freely walking them around. So I don't know if they do something to them to make them less aggressive, but they're dinosaurs. I mean, they're reptiles. They have no logic or reason whatsoever. They're just cold-blooded killers. Maybe they're well fed. I don't know if the Park Service feeds them or something.
Well, I mean, you got to think they also have to perceive predators on their end as well. You know, they don't. I mean, a human could could. I mean, an alligator could kill a human, but I think they understand that they're not. I don't know. Would you call an alligator an apex predator? I don't think that I would.
I think I would. I mean, at least.
It's not that they don't have predators.
But I mean, they're big. Like the ones even
yeah.
are big, and they definitely could. Like you would get scooped up. You would be a really good meal for an alligator.
Yeah, I understand that, but like they're gonna attack you in like on when they not on their turf, but where they feel most comfortable. Like if I was by the bank of a pond or something. But
That's
it seems unlikely that if you're just walking around, that they would just like come out of the water, like hundreds of yards out of the water, and come and attack you.
Well, that's
You know what I
true.
mean?
I mean, you kind of got to be close to the bank. But I mean,
Right, where they're the dominant, where it's their domain. You know,
some of the trails though are pretty close to the bank of the. It seems not insane that one of these gators would, because they can run. I mean, they run a little bit. They're cold blooded, so they have to.
Yeah, but they're not like they can't run for very long. You know, that's why they drag their prey into the water.
Yeah.
You know, typically.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's amazing to me that more of these dogs. And you hear about attacks sometimes where dogs do get taken, but you really don't hear too much about fatalities from them, which you think happen more with how active people are in Florida visiting the springs and the lakes and kayaking. Well, it finally happened. Kissimmee, it was in. Let's watch this story real quick. Oh, never mind. It's a press conference.
I hate press conferences.
Yeah, they're so boring.
Yeah, they really are. Unless like you got some like good deeds.
Yeah, just quick hit. It says it's still under investigation here. 61-year-old woman was killed by an alligator near Lake Kissimmee. She was canoeing with her husband when they passed over an alligator that thrashed and knocked over her canoe. Although that's a nightmare. And knocked him into the water. And
so she was like in the water. She's in the gator's domain.
Yeah. She was landed on top of the alligator and was bitten. Doesn't say how big the alligator was. That's what I'm seeing here. And it sucks that gator's done for too. They got to kill that gator now.
I mean, I don't know.
It tastes for
Keep
blood.
a gun on you at all times, folks.
Let's see. It says contracted nuisance alligator trappers responded to the scene. Ooh, this is a bit, and recovered an 11-foot 4-inch alligator that matched the description of the alligator. That's a big alligator.
Yeah.
Wow. 12 feet. I know you got the tail in there too, but that's crazy. And those things are just floating around pretty much everywhere. Every open source of water in Florida. There's
fresh water. You got to be careful. Any sort of pond or reservoir, lake.
Yeah. You got to assume that they're there.
This is why I stay away from all water, because you got either sharks in the salt water, you got alligators in the fresh water, you got amoebas and stuff in the freshwater. Freshwater seems to be not the term to use, because I feel like when you say freshwater, it just means not sea salt water, but it's not fresh. It's disgusting. It's stagnant, gross water. Like, you hear these kids are like, oh, he swallowed a brain and an amoeba and it destroyed his brain in 3 days. That's always freshwater, stagnant, nasty stuff. Swamp.
Yeah.
Stay away from the water. Go in a pool. If you must have water, go in a pool. Go to the beach and go 3 feet in tops.
I don't typically swim in the ocean at all. I don't really like it. I'm afraid of the animals that are in there. Not afraid of them. I just respect them, and I don't want to be trouncing all over them when I have a pool, that I could go into in my complex.
Totally.
So if I swim, I could go in there. No damage to their habitat, nothing like that. And separate but equal as far as pools and water goes.
I don't. It's not my domain. I'm great on land. Yeah. I don't have gills.
Right.
I'm not a dolphin. I don't need to be really submerged in the water. I really don't have respect for these animals. Like you said, I fear them. Yeah. I fear them. I don't want to be near them.
That's a nice way. So you don't, when you are actually afraid of something, you just be like, instead of it being negative or have negative connotations, whether it's people, animals, whatever, you just be like, I respect them. And
I'm
I
gonna
don't
say that next time I cross the street.
yeah, I'm just respect you. I just don't want to get in your way because I respect you. You see, yeah. All right, let's say goodbye to Radio St. Pete. Thank you, podcast listeners of Radio St. Pete. You can join us Wednesday 6 p.m. We do extra time on YouTube at willsyoutube.com and the Substack hmbradio.substack.com. And you can join the YouTube's awesome because you can do the super chats, you can comment, and it's fun. So hopefully you'll join us there next week. willsyoutube.com, 6 p.m. Wednesdays. Goodbye, Radio St. Pete. All right, good. Now we can talk about this story because it's been fascinating to me. It's been, and has the news covered it? I know you watch CBS. Has the news really even talked about it that
I
much?
really don't watch CBS anymore, to be honest with you. The main news channel that I watch, you're gonna laugh at me. Piers Morgan Uncensored is my favorite. It is
Piers Morgan.
my favorite. There's a lot of yelling, so you got to be kind of like in the mood for it. But today I watched about an hour of Piers Morgan Uncensored about the case that you're about to bring up with the mother.
TV?
Huh?
Piers Morgan is on TV,
It's technically a podcast.
but it's on TV.
No.
It's
on
on
YouTube.
Okay. So you don't know what's going on in the I don't watch any like mainstream news.
Neither do I.
So I know you said you had an affinity for Gayle King and CBS for some reason.
I do. I used to watch CBS News like every morning when I was working mornings, like for about 20 minutes. I just to see what's going on, and it's like kind of like a nice feel good. You know, like sometimes I'd watch like CBS News Sunday with what's her name? Jane. I forget. Remember, she's amazing. What is it?
Jane Pauley?
Yeah, yeah. Where it's just like feel good stories. It's not really political. Maybe it's about Bill Belichick, stuff like that.
Right. Not yet.
I like that. But yeah, as of late, it's just been YouTube.
Yeah, same. I have a few podcasts that I pay for, and after that, it's just like I've been listening to a lot of Danny Jones. Do you ever listen to his podcast?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, his show. I gotta tell you, that guy. I had him on my podcast years ago, and he was doing filmmaking, and he did this really cool documentary about meth head Madeira Beach fishermen.
Yeah, I saw it.
It's great. It was awesome. And I remember telling him, I was like, dude, you should do a podcast. That's the future. It was 10 years ago. And now he's got a million subscribers on YouTube. He's crushing it. And I sent him an email and I was like, are you still in Tampa? And I wanted to pick his brain about YouTube. And he was like, yeah, sure. Happy to talk anytime. And then I couldn't get him back after that. And I'm sure he's really busy. And I was thinking like, what? I was hoping he would be able to share some wisdom about growing the YouTube channel, but then I just realized he has a good show. The main difference is his show is good. And I mean like Anna, I think we are good at what we do, but it's a different type of show. Like I wouldn't want to do a podcast like that. It's too involved.
Research intensive.
Well, not even that, but just like the guests that he has I love it. I think it's fascinating. Every single guest that he has is super, super fascinating. But yeah, I wouldn't want to do a podcast like that where I just have to talk to a stranger. I like talking to you for, a couple hours. If I could do it every day on a radio station, that would be incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have to interview, like an interview style podcast.
I'm not really an interviewer. I'm more of an interrogator, I've been told. I actually met Danny Jones. He came on the show I used to work for.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And really like down to earth, cool dude. But kind of like you said, that hustle of trying to get guests. And then once you do land a guest, you got to read their books. Like you can't be messing around, bringing someone on. And because the people that he has on most of the time are trying to advertise something. Annie Jacobson has a new book, or I've been listening to a lot of I was actually listening to, was it John Kiriaki? Maybe he was in, what's that other guy's name? Julian Dory. Do you know who that is?
No.
It's similar to Danny Jones, but same sort of thing where you have to be very well read on the guests that you have because they want to be discussing their latest book or app or whatever. But yeah, Danny's great. I think I saw him at the gym one time, but I didn't want to be annoying. So
yeah. So I didn't bother trying to follow up with him after he said yes, because I just, like I said, just figured out, he's got a really interesting, good show with very interesting topics. Like, I mean, it seems like I was listening to one today. It's like giants that roamed America. When some guy who studies, it's like these
niche, like weird.
Yeah, I think some people would write it off as just like conspiracy or disinformation or whatever, but they seem to have some. It's not just people talking, it's like research that people have done and put out books and whatever. But I mean one on electromagnet, which freaked me out. This is another thing. It's like you want to get away from politics. I don't want to think about politics all the time because it's just bums me out. I'm tired of it. And then I was listening to this podcast about 5G, and obviously that's a contested topic that has no effect on you. Don't worry about it. But I don't know. This guy was pretty convincing on the podcast. It's probably not good for us to be carrying around the cell phones and irradiated by blue light and everything. So it's just another thing to scare you. But it's still fascinating, even though it's a little scary at the same time. So check Danny out. He's right here in Tampa.
He's in St. Pete.
Yeah, I think he's on the beach actually, somewhere out St. Pete Beach or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, good show. I don't know how I started to talk about him, but this. Oh, I was asking you. Okay, so this lady in Minnesota, she got doxxed. Apparently what happened was there was she had with her child at the park. She has a young child, toddler age. From the story that I've heard, there was a young boy of a person of color who was either rummaging through her stuff, her bag, or her child's things, and allegedly told this kid, "Get out of here, you little N-word." And we all know what the N-word is. Right?
Yes, correct. We know what it is. Yeah.
And I feel like, obviously if you do that, so there was some Somalian dude there because Minnesota has a bunch of Somali.
I think the child was also a Somali kid or Somalian descent.
Okay, that's not surprising because they have a very large Somali presence.
Yeah, that's where Ilhan Omar's from. Like,
yes. Yeah. But I think like a few years ago, maybe even 6 months ago, if a video like this came out, she's toast. She's done. Instead, the reaction was people donated a bunch of money to her in the amount of $500,000, which may be more now because this story came out on the 3rd. So, I mean, what's today, the 7th? So it might even be more than that now. Hendricks, she identified herself as a mother caught on camera this week hurling a vile slur at a 5-year-old boy. She allegedly caught rifling through her bag at the playground. Hendricks can be seen in the clip turning her ire and profanity on I believe this guy was a Somali man as well.
Yeah, not the boy's father, but when he heard her call the 5-year-old autistic, which by the way, like no one knows that kid's autistic. So can we just leave that out of it?
Yeah.
Like, okay, she shouldn't have said that, but like the fact is like, oh, he's autistic. It's like, okay, we didn't know that. She wasn't trying to go after like a disabled child. Not defending her, but like, please, let's not pile on.
Yeah, I think it's a good defense for that's why he was rummaging through the bag.
Sure. And that's fine. So then this man who is unrelated to the boy, it seems, that Omar guy, started filming her, and he was just like, "Did you just call this little boy the blank word?" And she just like basically just said, "Yeah, I did." And he's like, "Well, why don't you say it?" And then she just like says it a bunch. Yeah. She was like, "Yeah, happy to do that." Happy to do it. Sees the camera, doesn't tell him, "Don't film me." Was just like, "You see this face? Now I'm gonna say it." What I've been hearing, which makes a lot of sense, is that it's not a GoFundMe. I think it's like Give, Send, Go is the platform.
Yeah.
The reason why, and again, this is like conjecture on Piers' show, which I think is probably pretty accurate, the reason why this woman has garnered so much money is because it was kind of a response to the Carmelo Anthony case, where that guy racked up, God only knows, probably close to $1 million by now, I'm guessing. And everyone was outraged. And so now it's kind of like, oh, there's this white woman who's getting doxxed. Well, guess what the white community is going to do? We're going to, well, not we, but we're, as if I'm one of them, are going to rally around this woman because we're sick and tired of just getting railroaded by one side. It seems is the narrative that they're pushing out, that this is kind of like, although completely unrelated to the Carmelo Anthony case, is kind of a reaction to that, where it's like, yeah, well, if you guys can rally up and support your dude because of shared ethnic background, well, guess what? We're going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of that too with that case, because there was I've seen videos and people can't believe that, why would you donate to this lady? Well, I think that has a lot to do with it. And I've seen the TikTok videos of people showing the really heinous comments in the donation page.
They shut that down. I heard the CEO talking about it in both the Carmelo case and this woman, Shiloh Hendricks case. By the way, cool name. Shiloh Hendricks, very cool name. They just shut down the comments on both of those campaigns
because there was
so much vitriol and hate.
Brutal comments. But I mean, race relations in the country are just as bad as they've been since 1960.
Yeah, they're not. But yes.
Well, at least online, yeah. But
online,
you do
sure, yeah.
You do see a lot of incidents where people, feel like they have anonymity there and just say really terrible things. And there was terrible comments in the Carmelo Anthony one talking about good, a white person's dead. That's good. And then there was some pretty awful comments in the Shiloh Hendricks one. I hate the give, send, go, all of these sites that do this. I know they do a lot of good, but they are just ripe with fraud. And this is just people, like, now it's gotten to the point where they're just voicing their social displeasure with how things are going with their dollars, which is insane. But donating to this, it's almost like voting to see that you can gauge the temperature of the country based on these things. And you can see that we are very, very divided.
Wait, what did you say? What is fraud? The give, send, go, or the people that are taking advantage of it?
Both. What's the main one?
GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. Yeah, that thing. Because you could just start a campaign. You don't know. I mean, you don't know what it is. I used to have people.
No one is forcing you to donate.
I know, and I felt bad because when I was working, steadily at the radio station, and I had some sort of presence there, I would get, and I had my own Twitter account too, which had a few thousand followers on it. I would get like mentions like, "Hey, can you retweet my GoFundMe? Here's my sob story," and I would always not do that because I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't know if you're a scamster. I don't want to. It's very low, like just to share it is very low energy. It doesn't take a lot, but I don't know. I didn't want to put any of my followers that might click on it to give money to some thief. I hate that I think that way, but
no, I think that's fair. I think it's better. Like it's in your civic. You're a better civilian. If you prevent a bunch of people from donating to a sham cause than not promoting a good cause.
Wait, say that again.
So like, I think that you do more for society. Like, again, we're just hedging bets. We don't know if this given campaign is legit or not, but I think that you do more for society when you err on the side of caution and you don't promote or try to influence people to pay into a potentially fraudulent campaign versus the opposite, which is you don't promote. So you're not saying don't give to this. You just don't promote a potentially beneficial campaign.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe, I mean, I guess it depends on the case. Like, my kid is dying of cancer. We're like, the sad part is that unfortunately, it's been the case where people have used fraudulent campaigns like that. Like, my kid is sick, and because most of society has an empathetic brain, they give money to that, and then you take advantage of that. And not only is it terrible because you've essentially stolen these people's money on false pretenses, but now you've drilled it, you've ingrained in them that, you know what, I'm not going to give to anything, because now anything could be a scam, even though it might be a sick child or giving money to a starving person in Africa. It's just a scam. That's what you're conditioning these people to think. And so then they go, you know what, I'm going to donate to nothing.
Yeah. There just used to be a time where you knew your community, and then it would be like, Dave at the Elks Lodge is dealing with financial hardship. Come out to the bar and all the tips are going to go to Dave. That was like the original GoFundMe, right?
Yeah, that still exists.
You knew Dave. He was in your community, and you knew that he was going through a hard time. It just feels like it's so easy just to throw something up there. I don't know what the requirements are for somebody who has an issue, or if they can just do it. I think they could just do it. Like, what's the responsibility of Give, Send, Go or GoFundMe to figure out these things are actually legit or not, and where the money is going? Once the money's paid out, it's paid out. And I think it's probably hard to get caught too. Like, if you're saying that your kid has something, or you're raising money for somebody, like, if the person doesn't know that they're having money raised for, and then it just goes in their pocket.
Well,
like, it just happens all the time.
I mean, not to say that it's not Give, Send, Go's responsibility, but they're just like, hey, we're just a hosting site. And regardless of if it's fraudulent for a fake kid with cancer or a real kid with cancer, they still make money, so they don't really care. At that point, if it is a fraudulent case, like, then you give it to the authorities to take care of and investigate, versus like Give, Send, Go. They're just like, hey, I'm just the platform. They can't go and investigate every single cause. There's probably like thousands of causes that pop up every day, some of which maybe only collect $10. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, I get it. It just feels like it's also incentivizing bad behavior now too, where people are just like, this kid who's killed, or whether it's manslaughter, murder, whatever. The Carmelo Anthony kid, he killed a person. I guess I could understand if you're saying I need money, for legal fees. I know he's
claiming it's self-defense.
Exactly.
He's saying like, hey, I need money so I can get a fair trial because I don't have any money. So if you want me to get a fair trial, then give me money so I can get a fair trial in the judicial system that is often influenced by how much money you have, which determines how good of a lawyer you can get.
But and people went, okay. And gave this thing, and then all of a sudden he had $1 million or whatever it was, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that money went to renting a very nice house and buying it's my understanding, a Cadillac Escalade. So it's not going to an attorney. It's going to, it's a reward for a really terrible action.
There was a man on Piers Morgan, and he could be full of S, but he said that was untrue. But it was also a guy that would probably say that was untrue, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know. And guess what? I don't care. I'm not going to go and like do investigative boots on the ground journalism. I just kind of go like this and go, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. It's
I don't
just
know what's happening.
I guess it's the same thing. Like the lady that said this assaulted this kid with verbally anyways. She said, he was going through my stuff, and I said what I said, and now she got doxxed. The internet does what it does. She got doxxed. Her social security number's online, according to her, her address, and she needs to move. And frankly, if that's true, she does need to move, because there is a weird, I heard John McWhorter describe that word, the big one, as like drawing Muhammad in our culture. Like, you can die. Like, there's a lot of people out there who go, yeah, if you say that, you should be killed. Maybe not killed, but a severe beating if you utter that. It's like a free pass to violence. Particularly a white person is to say that.
I mean, maybe they don't think you should be killed, but you should be effectively eradicated from society in the sense that like you can be harassed, maybe not physically, but
No, I think
verbally
a
or
lot of people
physically.
just
By harassed, I mean like assaulted. Like maybe they don't think you can, but they also think you should never be able to have a job again. And obviously, that's a problem if you're a parent and you need to provide for a family.
right.
You're essentially like, what are the kids going to do? I heard that there was a push to have her kids removed. Like CPS was involved, saying this woman is not fit to be a mother, trying to remove her kids. So
It's
I think the lesson is, which is a sad one, just don't say anything.
well, it's just it's just odd. I mean, you're kind of rewarding her bad behavior too. Now, I think
Yeah.
exponential number that killing somebody is a little different than saying a bad word to somebody that you shouldn't say. But I think that as far as the crime goes, one is much, much worse, and that's murder. And then when you just open up, these websites to the world, everybody throws in a buck. It's like the old internet thing where like, send me $1. And some guy made $1 million off of that because he just made a website, send me $1 with his address, and he got $1 million from it. And then you just throw people who are like, yeah, you know what? These types of people are bugging me. And this way I can support whether they kill him or just call him a dirty word. It kind of gauges the pulse of the country and where everybody's at. And it's a bad sign when murderers and assholes are just being rewarded for their bad behavior with lots of money.
Yeah, and Pierce Morgan was really ripping the CEO of Give Send Go, a new one, because apparently I didn't know this. It's like a Christian foundation. Like they have some sort of like they offer like prayer services and like I don't know. It's like Christian. It's like the Chick-fil-A of fundraisers.
Yeah,
fundraising platforms, and they said that they don't support any, which I thought to be kind of strange. They don't support any campaigns that give money to abortions, which just lie about
right.
abortions or transitioning children from male to female or female to male. So these were off limits. And Pierce was like, Pierce can be somewhat obnoxious, but he was just grilling the guy. He's like, oh, so what about like, because the guy said, the CEO said that they had to, their one thing that they do or try to do all the time is protect children. And he's like, well, what about the kid that you called, was called the N-word? And the guy just kept pivoting. And then, but what would have been the best response is like, well, what about that woman's child that she will no longer be able to provide for if she can't get a job or if she's killed on the street because people think it's okay to kill a racist, So I don't know. It was just funny because they did have like lines in the sand where you can't campaign for an abortion, but Luigi Mangione
Right.
has a fund up there to pay for his legal defense, and he killed someone an adult in cold blood.
But that's
arguably worse than a fetus. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, like the Give Send Go is just like GOP GoFundMe. It was an alternative because I think it was either Kyle Rittenhouse started one and got a bunch of money, and then they said, no, we're not going to give it to you or something. They took it. So I think that's how Give Send Go kind of got its jump, was that, or it might have been the trucker protests in Canada. They support the trucker protests in Canada during COVID either. So they started this Give Send Go thing. So it's just like, that's fine. Like, I don't think a company has to host a charity for you.
No.
I mean, and there's an alternative that comes up fine, and they don't do abortions. If you want an abortion, go to GoFundMe, and you can fund your abortion.
If you want to do murder, you go to Give Send Go.
If you want to, if you want to call somebody a terrible name, go to Give Send Go. I think that's fair. But I don't know. It's just fascinating. And I just thought that the I don't know, like, what does that mean for the long term of, I think it might be a good thing where everybody's just sick of this shit and like, we're not doing this anymore. Or it could be really bad. What do
you mean? Because people are doing this shit. Like, Clearly people are invested. If Carmelo Anthony is close to 1 million, this woman's near 500,000. Like, things aren't good.
Yeah, well, it's just, kind of a token of I'm not doing this shit anymore. I'm not jump anymore. Like this one time drawing Muhammad comparison of saying that word here in America at one point. Like I said, I asked a buddy about it who's pretty rational about other things. I've been thinking about this for years. Like, obviously, I know there's a lot of deep connotations with that word, particularly with our history and slavery, for example, the big one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, at the end of the day, it's just a descriptor word. It's a nasty word to say. You're an asshole, if you use it. But, that's where we were with the R word a few years ago. It was like nobody would say that. Now that's.
I mean, in the same vein, but nowhere near the.
Not near the gusto, not near the but I mean,
hostility.
People wouldn't say retarded.
Gravity.
And I feel like that's words coming back for some reason. And I'm not saying I want the N word to come back either. I'm just saying, like, if somebody uses it, like, what should be the punishment for that? And I feel like a lot of people, especially a few years ago, would have been like, well, maybe not deaf, but yeah, if you get punched in the, like, should you be punched in the face? Is that and not face any consequences for punching that person in the face because they said a word to you? I mean, that just seems totally irrational and illogical. But we were very irrational and illogical a few years ago. So people would be like, yeah, and I think that some people, I would be interested to know the polling on it, would say, yeah, they should be killed if you say that.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult because it's like, obviously no violence, that's where I stand. No violence, no killing, no even like anything where the courts get involved. Like you said a slur, you're allowed to say a slur, like whatever. You're not inciting violence. You just called someone a nasty name. You should be able to do that and not get put in jail for it. But on the other hand, if someone records you, puts it online, like short of doxing you and putting your family in danger in that way, but if they put it online and like you lose your job and then you can't find a job because nobody wants to hire the racist woman in the video. I mean, we can't force companies to hire you. They're allowed to pick and choose who they want to represent their company.
And are you gonna, like, if Kamala Harris won the election, she tried to apply for some sort of government aid, is she gonna be able to get government aid? She's probably gonna have to depend on her family. What if she doesn't have a family? Well, then maybe she'll be living on the street and her kid will be taken away. But that's just the price you pay for saying that word.
I don't. I mean, again, this is just in my world. I don't think that if you're not a convicted felon, if you're not in prison, I don't think your online presence or something like that should affect anything in terms of government assistance or now we're going to withhold your Social Security. Like, that's ridiculous in my world. I'm not saying I don't know what Kamala had planned, but in my world, but in terms of like private companies, you go, listen, I'm sorry that Enterprise doesn't want to hire you because you have this video online. We don't want to be associated with that. Like, what's the recourse there? You made a bad decision and unfortunately you have to pay for it for the rest of your life. But like, what's the recourse? Force people to hire her? Like,
I'm just saying, no, you can't force anybody to hire her. But I mean, there's just a lot of ways this could go. Like I said, depending on even what state she's in. She's in Minnesota. That's a Democratic state. Oh, you're the lady that said this word, and her application for, aid comes through a bureaucrat's desk. Oh, you're that lady. No, you're declined.
Yeah, that certainly could happen. It doesn't mean it's legal or it should happen. But let me tell you something, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't think that I am. I don't think that this woman, and I'm not even talking about the Give, Send, Go fundraising stuff, because it's so out in the open. I promise you, she's got so much support behind her. There's a lot of hate, but there are a lot of people who are like, listen, bitch, you need a job? You let me know. We'll hire you. You can work for our family, small business, and wherever. I'm sure that is also happening. I don't think that no one is hiring her. Clearly, people support her. They're supporting her with dollars. I'm sure they're also supporting her with like employment favors as well.
Well, maybe. I mean, like supporting someone anonymously online and going to bat and hiring her for your business. When a news camera comes knocking at your door, did you hire? Why did you? Do you know this lady said this thing?
Yeah.
Why did you hire her?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't really know. It's like I don't know, like what should be the punishment for I think it's just like, what did you say? I said this. Fuck you. I think that's a good response and punishment. I don't think you should be hit or
no one is suggesting that.
and if somebody doesn't want to do business with you at that point, then okay, you know.
Yeah,
whatever.
I think that's it's super unfortunate. But
Also,
I think that's fair game. If that video gets out online, and because like we say, oh, free speech. Well, this has nothing to do with free speech. She's not going to prison, or she shouldn't go to prison.
If Kamala
like,
was in office,
okay, but she's not.
Yeah.
You should be able to say whatever you want, but that also means that like if people can select who they want to employ, you know, should she be doxxed? No, like that seems a bit much. But also, like, people are allowed to go to the public square and, you know, write horrible things about her on Twitter. People are allowed to go, wait, LinkedIn? Oh, Shiloh Hendricks. That sounds familiar. Oh, I know who that is. Not hiring. Like,
well, that's just, yeah. What depends on the temperature of the country, what actions they will take. But I had something to say. I forgot. Oh man, what was it? Oh fuck, I can't remember. But anyway, it's just I don't like how any of this went down. I don't like that she got a bunch of money. I don't like that the murderer got a bunch of money. It's a bad system. I miss the days of just being able, like I said, Dave from the Elks Lodge just having a hard time. Let's raise some money for him, and it's like $5,000 because it's local and to the community, as opposed to just putting it online where you have access to billions of people and they all throw in a couple bucks, and all of a sudden, I'm not going to even say terrible people are rewarded, but bad actions are rewarded, and now they're, you know, wealthy from doing these crimes or thought crimes or whatever they may be. It's just, it doesn't seem like a good system. I hate the GoFundMes. I think it was a terrible invention.
I mean, I feel like it's also done a lot of good. You know, it's not always just about legal fees. Sometimes it is about real, let's say, medical diagnoses, not frauds, where you really help out a family, you know, that needs help. Or, you know, maybe your house burned down during a fire. I don't know. Like, it is taken the place of the church. Much like you said with the GoFundMe and the bar and stuff like that. I mean, the original place where you would go when you needed something was the church. You had your community and the church. If you were going through a hard time, someone died, someone was in legal hot water, the church wraps their arms around you. They give you a place to stay. People are providing you with meals. You know what I mean? That was what the community did. Now we're just kind of outsourcing that to the rest of the world.
And it's not real community. It's like online.
No,
you know, kind of wrap it around. It's online, like people wishing you that you peed with once in the bathroom, happy birthday on Facebook, and now you can drop a buck to just show your support for this person because you're sick of all the bullshit. Either way, you know, coming from one side or the other, this is a way to support what I hate or who I hate or whatever. And it's just like, it's just so. It's interesting though, because like I said, you can kind of gauge, you know, how people are feeling out there because they're literally voting with their dollars to throw in money like that to somebody for a cause.
Yeah. Whatever. I mean, I really pay no mind to it unless we're discussing it for a podcast. But, you know, it is funny. Like you told me that phrase that Tyler the Creator, not phrase, but that quote that Tyler the Creator said. And I think about it often. And I know it was used in terms of like cyberbullying. And for those that don't know, I think it was like Tyler the Creator was interviewed and was asked by the interviewer, like, what do you make of cyberbullying? And Tyler the Creator was like confused. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, you know, when people go online and talk smack and bully, kids and stuff. He's like, how is that even a thing? Just turn off the computer.
Yeah, I think it was just a tweet that he did.
Yeah, like
in an interview.
I
Like, it's not a real thing.
apply that to not just bullying, but literally every facet of your life. When it comes to just being online with politics, and you're just like, oh my God, people are so hateful. There's so much racism. And then like you go to Walmart and there's people of all different colors and races and ages and genders. And yeah, you'll see some stuff on Twitter where maybe it gets a little rowdy, but for the most part, everybody is pretty cooperative. Like everybody follows the general rules, waits in the line, says hello, says goodbye, says thank you. Like we are an extreme, like we think that and of course there is a lot of disharmony, but by and large, God, like we're a very harmonious, cooperative species. Like even if you just look on the highway, you'll see an accident here and there, no doubt. But for the most part, people are trying to stay alive. And you think about how many cars are on the road at any given time. It's kind of amazing that there's so few accidents.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like most of the time, people are not getting in accidents.
Mm-hmm.
And, so we focus on the negative when there's the World Star video or that situation with the woman calling the 5-year-old the N-word or whatever. But most of the time, people are extremely cooperative and they just want to be left alone. So what I'm trying to say is like online is not necessarily a good representation of real life because you're only hearing about the news. No one is going to report and say like, 10 children of different ethnicities played at the playground today with all their parents and everything was just fine. That happens 99.9% of the time. You're only going to hear about the cases where it's not the case. So just don't you have to be mindful of like reporter bias and know that it's not statistically relevant to real life. Like it happens, but in your mind, it happens all the time. But then you go out. I went to a concert Saturday. There were old people, young people, Asian people, black people, white people, men, women, everything in between. I really didn't see any quarrels or brawls or melees because someone was the wrong color. Now, maybe it was the drugs. Makes people very happy and non-combative. But for the most part, people get along just fine. They don't want any problems. So just a reminder that things aren't as bad as they seem, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely true overall. And you can really poison yourself with media. It's important to definitely get outside and, touch some grass, as they say. But no, but it is bad. Like things are bad. I'm hoping that it's just like a lot of this hidden power that was exuded over the past few years, whether it be from government or just societal pressure, whatever, these power centers that just, the 2020s, the beginning just was so bad. And it feels like we're waking from a fever dream now. It's just, I just feel like it's a weird protest to just be able to say that nasty word and, but it means something. Like it, and not not just the racial slur. It's just like I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing all this. I feel like it's a pushback just to what the culture was in 2020s in general in our past presidential administration. But we're so different from each other. Like you'll talk to like a Biden voter or a Democrat, and they're just vastly different in their morality than. It feels like we can't live together anymore.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit more like optimistic about it. I really feel that racism in America got Streisand affected. You know the Streisand effect? Are you familiar with that? Mm-hmm. Or like Barbara Streisand tried to downplay something, and by doing that, she brought more attention to it. I feel like it was kind of the same where it's like we're trying to become a colorless society. We're trying to make everything equal. We're trying to make it not about race. And by doing that, we turned ourselves into a race-obsessed society.
Oh, racist society. I mean, like, I'm sorry, there's been a lot of things that have been just very, I don't know, like, for example, not accepting Asian students or white students or Jewish students at universities because they have too many people who are doctors. I'm like, it may be like, well, it's going to be a positive thing, but it's still racism. It's just on the plus side rather than the minus side, because you're helping classically, historically downtrodden communities, excel in society. But you're also just textbook being racist to people. Like, we really created a racist society. It's just, well, that's what they just, it's, an eye for an eye, because these people were oppressed throughout the year. It's not good. And the only downside of that, of course, is that people who are not the right color are going to go, I'm not fucking doing this. What did this lady say? I'm going to send her some money. And, that's kind of where we're at now. We're pushing back from, I think, just many years of this and this attitude. And I think a lot of people are against it, but there's a lot of people who are still pro. And it sort of feels like we just can't live together. But at the same time, to your point, Hannah, we are living together. And it may not be great, but we're still finding a way to get by no matter where we stand. You might be publicly shamed, but still stuff.
Yeah, much like I know Trump is pushing for, and much of the right pushes for, school choice. I mean, I think the same kind of applies to adults, where I think you should, to the best of your ability. I mean, I know not everybody can like move across the country or across state lines, but to the best of your ability, you should probably try to live in a place that reflects your values. Yeah. And that way you're more likely to come into contact, not necessarily with people who look like you, but for people who share the same values. Like, okay, we like Law and Order here, or we like Pride festivals, whatever the case is.
Fentanyl in the street.
Yeah, that's totally cool. I don't care about fentanyl in the street. If drug addicts want to do that, but then, we need to sequester them to where people are okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I feel. And that's why I'm really reticent and hesitant to leave Florida, because I like living here, because I feel like it's obviously it's mostly the weather, but I need to live in a place that reflects my values, it seems, more and more, because otherwise you're just constantly frustrated. I'm not, but a lot of people are every time they like walk around. And I don't think that, if we don't really get to choose where our tax dollars go, but to the best of your ability, if you're like, hey, this is a state that kind of focuses more on this versus like just throwing money to heroin addicted homeless people, like, yeah, I'd be more willing to throw my money at improving the roads, or like, you know what I mean? Something that will benefit me and not just like this crackhead that needs clean needles for heroin or whatever. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. It's the concept of the national divorce has been a thing for a long time, and there's some people who have laid out plans for that, where you kind of just move to certain states that have certain laws, and
but the whole like secession. Okay, like it would be a lot easier if everybody west of Kansas thought this way and everybody east thought that way. Obviously, it's all over the place, so you run into some issues there geographically. But also, like, okay, so then it splits red and blue, and then what happens? Then there's some other divide. I've seen lots of divides among the blues themselves and among the reds themselves, some of which have me a bit feeling a bit uncomfortable. People I used to follow and like support, and saying some stuff where I'm like, oh no. That honestly kind of scares. Whatever, I'm just gonna come out and say it. Like it seems to be, and I hate being the person who's like anti-Semitism is like on the rise. I mean, of what I've seen, and again, it's reporter bias, but still, it's getting reported more, it seems, makes me a little bit uncomfortable. But I also try to tell myself, because it is important, that being critical of Israel doesn't mean hating Jews. Like, that is not the same thing. Like, and I think that people who are pro-Israel have done a pretty bad job at just like insulting and branding anybody who says anything bad about Netanyahu or Israel as an anti-Semite. That's ridiculous and makes the problem worse. Because guess who have been the biggest critics of Benjamin Netanyahu are people who live in Israel. Like, there were massive protests against Benjamin Netanyahu for a power grab, like some judicial something he was trying to change. And I don't know too much about Israeli politics, but all I know is there were massive protests in the street from Israelis because they were not happy about how Netanyahu was conducting business. But it also, like, I don't know. I've been digesting a lot of media, and I've been really trying to wipe away like any sort of bias I may have, because when I talk to people and I'm like, why do you think this way? And if they say, oh, I'm Jewish, or oh, I'm Arab or Palestinian, I'm like, okay, that's not an argument. You just revealed your bias. Like, I go like, why do you support Israel? Oh, because I'm Jewish. Okay, well, that's not an argument. You just revealed your bias. And then the same goes for the other side. So in my mind, like, when it comes to like politics, typically, like, there's a truth and a right answer, and I'm trying to get to it. And I get a little scared sometimes when I, listen to Kanye West. Doesn't really freak me out so much, but like Dan Bilzerian and like Candace Owens, like, and to some degree, I feel like Dave Smith has done a lot of damage. And I remind myself that, he's speaking his truth and like what he thinks is right. And obviously I don't think he's an anti-Semite. I mean, obviously he's Jewish himself, but I just feel like my one question to these people would be, okay, so what should Israel do? And they go, well, I don't know. I'm not a general in the army. I don't know. I'm like, okay, but you're telling them, you're perfectly happy to tell them what they shouldn't do. So what should they do in terms of like completing an objective? Yeah. And it just seems like we're all on the same side of like what's happening is horrific, but we're blaming the like two different groups. Like, it's like the Jews and pro-Israel people are like, yeah, this is horrific, and it's all Hamas's fault. And the people on the other side go, yeah, this is completely horrific, and it's all Israel's fault and the Jews' fault. And I'm just like, oh, we agree that this is both horrific. Like, how do we rectify it? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very complicated issue. Israel, Palestine, whatever you want to call it. And certainly doesn't seem like there's going to be any solutions from that either. To me, it seems like, yeah, you just got to have a war. And unfortunately, wars can sometimes lead to a mass die-off of a certain group of people who are at war against the other group. And that's just that's war. That's history. Sometimes you get completely wiped out. And then guess what? The problem's over.
Do you work for APAC? No,
I don't. No. It seems like one side of that battle would have a strategic advantage just due to their technology. And you could be doing a lot more, frankly, with the technology you do have. It's just so uncomfortable to think about because you could really end it in a couple hours. This whole thing could be over, really. And I guess now you got to worry about other countries jumping in and stuff, but
they aren't. And someone, I forgot what I was watching, but they brought up like in 67 and 73 when there were issues, like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Syria, like all jumped in. None of them are doing anything. Egypt, not a word. No, they don't want the Palestinians, but they're not like helping them. The only country that's helping them obviously is Iran, but and maybe Hezbollah, but that's not like Lebanon, like the Lebanese government.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't know. Like everyone is like with Dave Smith, you know, God bless him. I really respect him. He's obviously a really bright guy, but he's just like, I'm just anti-war. I'm just like really anti-war. Yeah, but sometimes you don't have a choice. Like you have to go to war. Otherwise you're going to get demolished. You're going to get erased off the face of the earth. Like, I don't understand this whole like
terror constantly with rockets and
guns. Yeah, it's just like what does anti-war mean? Does that mean that when you're attacked you do nothing? Like I don't understand. Yeah, I'm anti-war. I don't like people, civilians dying. Of course not. But in that same breath, like, what do? You just say, okay, well, 1,200 of our people were killed, so we'll kill 1,200 of them, and then then we're even.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
no,
that's how it works.
That's not how war works. You have an objective. And you have to complete that objective. And people are like, oh, like he always talks about like insurgency math and like General McChrystal says like you kill 2 insurgents and you create 9 more. Okay, well, how did we defeat the Nazis in World War II? We eradicated them. Does that mean that there's no Nazis anywhere on Earth? No, there's still Nazis here and there, but like they're like effectively defunct.
They're in the White House.
Oh. I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, give me another option. Give me a better option. If you're going to tell me that what this is not working and it's horrible, and you know, do we have to do it this way? What does he always say? He goes, is there any other way? Is this absolutely necessary? Okay, if we say no, then what should we do? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like, I just feel like it is. I feel like it is necessary.
It's a very part of being human is war, and we're lucky that we're born. Were you born in America or South Africa?
Wrong. I was born in Israel.
Oh, you're born in Israel. Okay. Mm-hmm. But even I guess you came here when you were very young. Like,
yeah. No recollection of Israel.
You know, our history as far as being American, our country has been at war for a huge chunk of its existence, but we never really saw anything. We haven't had to experience what war is, and I feel like that's why people are just like, oh, it's a genocide, because they don't understand what war is. I mean, it's really, really bad, and men, women, and children die because of war, and you should do everything to prevent it, and it's awful. But that's part of being at war, is people dying who are innocent, and that's what's so terrible about it.
Yeah,
it's something that happened. I mean, like, there's no way to avoid it, really. You can try to the best of your abilities, and there's you know, you can draw up plans and here's where the troops are, but there's always going to be collateral damage.
Yeah. And to me, it's like, it not funny in the comical sense, but like in the ironic sense, where it's like, if Israel went in and said, all right, you guys, we got to get all the like civilians out because we need to find Hamas. They go, oh, this is ethnic cleansing. You're displacing these people against their will. Okay, so you let them stay and then you bomb them and they all die and you go, that's genocide. You genocided people.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just
what do you do?
It's definitely a PR game, and Hamas is definitely better at working.
Oh, they're winning, totally. Yeah. And they accomplished their objective. Their objective was never to like, they knew they couldn't crush the IDF. There were no like riots on Jerusalem trying to take the capital for themselves. They broke through like a shanty of a wall, killed a bunch of people, grabbed some hostages, and then ran back to their tunnels like fucking cowards. Mm-hmm. You know, and the whole point was because they knew they would drag Israel into, I'm not going to say an overreaction, but into a serious ground and air offensive. And that they were trying to turn public opinion against Israel so that they would, you know, perhaps that they would anger enough people, enough voters, that the voters would say, listen, we don't want our tax dollars. We're not going to vote for people who are pro-Israel in our government and to therefore kind of drain Israel in that way. And listen, like, I totally understand that argument where it's like, why are we funding a war that we even agree with? Fair. Totally fair. Like, I have no problem that people go, listen, I want Israel to win. I also don't want my tax dollars as an American going to this war. That's totally fair. And that's kind of like where I sit, actually, where I go, listen, like, I don't, what benefit is this to Americans? Tell me. But I also want Israel to win the war. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I think they would if they use all their full force. I mean, they have the
totally.
military backing, and I guess the America's with. I don't know. It's weird. Very complicated. So, I don't know. It's interesting that we talked about this too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's on my mind, and I definitely like overdose on a lot of the Israel Gaza conflict because I feel, and maybe you can weigh in on this, but like I feel with most things there's like a right and a wrong side. Now, granted, everything is like super nuanced, but I just want to make sure that I'm on the right side, and I don't want it to be because like of my biases. I'm really trying to look at this from like fresh eyes, and a way that I do that is I listen to people that I respect that disagree with my stance, like Dave Smith. So I watch a lot of Dave Smith or Candace Owens or other people where I like typically respect them and their like either their brain or their investigative journalistic methods or whatever, and just try to see like their strongest arguments. And every time I'm left wondering, like, okay, so what plan would you devise if you're trying to protect your country? Like, what would you do? Oh, I would just like send in special ops. Okay, so you send in special ops to go into every single apartment complex that's either ridden with Hamas terrorists or munitions and it's booby trapped. So you want to put your own people in additional danger to vet and make sure that this just has Hamas people and zero civilians. Well, what if it's a 12-year-old with an RPG or an AK? Like, is that a combatant or is that a child? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you, I can tell you this, Anna. I can make it easy for you about being on the right side or not. It's whoever wins who will be on the right side, and they get to write the history books. And
define win. Like you can win the war and lose the PR battle, and I feel like that's what's happening.
Oh well, yes, that's true. I mean, you definitely have a media apparatus that just runs whatever the Hamas minister says and says that these people died and all these children died, and that's what goes into the Associated Press report. It's it's interesting. I also find talk about being anti-Semitic or whatever. Like, there's just so much push that lied on the right hand side of the spectrum there. That the Donald Trump hates Jews and.
Oh my God, no.
Well, I know, but that's the thing. It's like quite the opposite. And I know that there is a sect of the right that's not bananas about the Jews.
Oh my God, it seems to be getting louder.
The crazy thing about it is nobody likes them. The Democrats don't like them. Liberals don't really like. Even some of them are just outright, openly anti-Semitic, and others are I just don't like Israel, and I'm for the underdog. I guess they kind of view it as like an underdog story.
They've been labeled like the woke right, which is like they view in the same sort of like power dynamics of the oppressed versus the oppressors. They see that and they just see the Jews as the oppressors, essentially.
Right.
And I feel like it's more than that. I feel like the woke right doesn't really care about the Palestinians. It's that they particularly dislike the Jews because I feel like they themselves have had some either personal bad experiences or they notice that it's a tiny minority of the Earth's population, yet they seem to be doing extremely well, right? Mm-hmm. Like it shouldn't be the case that like there's only 15 million Jews on Earth and they've won like half of the Nobel Prizes and they're amongst like the wealthiest ethnic groups in the world and represent, I don't know, I'm just making this up, like half the billionaires or whatever. So when people see that and they go, well, that statistically doesn't add up, there must be some nefarious characters at play, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I see it. But
it's not. I also like the parallel, and I got to get going soon, but
yeah.
this is an interesting conversation. The parallels between Ukraine and Russia too. Like you could draw a spectrum with the flags that people have in their profiles. Like you have like Ukraine, Israel is just like a boomer Democrat. Like those are their sides.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
And then you got let's see, you would have Ukraine and Palestinian flag is like a young progressive
Woke left. Yeah.
woke left.
Yeah.
And then you got like Russia, I guess if you want to say being on the side of Russia, but siding more, I guess, with Russia. Or I don't think people have Russian flags in their profile.
No. But you're describing like a Tucker Carlson, where he's like, I went to Russia, beautiful, loved it. Like, I don't know. I mean, their cities are cleaner than ours, and then is also, and I'm not going to call Tucker Carlson an anti-Semite, but like is extremely critical of Israel. You know?
Yeah, but I think he probably supports Israel. Or I think he would be Israel Russia. It would be people. You think he supports? I don't think so. I think he'd be because the Russia Israel flag would mean like our dads. Like my dad would be that guy.
Yeah, same.
And then you have Russia, Palestine, and those are like the young kind of far right kids, younger, like the opposite of progressives, whatever you would call them. Not necessarily MAGA or anything, but
why? I wonder why.
Fuentes crowd.
Why you think? I'm trying to like do the political math, but like the people who are like pro, I'll just say Russia or Putin apologists, say, if you want to put them in that category, and also like pro Palestine, like how did that group get clumped together?
I think because they're kind of anti-Semites. I think it's like people who are on the right don't really support the United States backed proxy war that's going on in Ukraine. So there would be more Team Russia.
Yeah.
They also are that group on the right that just doesn't like Jews.
Just doesn't like the Jews. Okay, it's not like these people were invaded and it's really their land. It has like nothing to do. Yeah. And I think that it's just like, because there is a sect, and I don't want to say it's everybody, but like there's certainly a sect that's like, I hate Jews, and then I can just cloak that with they're killing innocent women and children. This is outrageous.
Well, they have a reason, right? It's
right. Yeah.
Racist. But you probably are. It's just a good way to.
Yeah, and it's hard to see like who is who. Like, do you just hate Jews, or you just like, I'm critical of this war? Which fair, you should be critical of anything. So
I think it's easy if like you see a sign and it says Jews on it, probably anti-Semites.
What if it says fuck the Jews?
If it says that,
it's at a bar.
I would say it might be an anti-Semitic. But if it's saying Israel in the sign, I think that's more fair, because then you're kind of going after a state as opposed to a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Jews live in Israel. I think that's fair to say, but they also have a big population of Arabs, and
20% of the population of Israel are Arab.
Yeah, they're in the.
I wonder if it's like the same as it was in 2020 for black cops, where they're like, "Fuck,
yeah,
I'm a black cop, and I gotta arrest all these blacks and whites for fighting on my behalf." Yeah. And same for like all these Arab Muslims like in the Israeli army, like, oh fuck. Like,
yeah,
I'm an Israeli, but also my cousins aren't too happy. Like,
not good. Yeah, it's interesting. These are quagmires that will, I guess, maybe never be solved. This could be just an ongoing thing forever, but it definitely seems like things are heating up as far as where everybody's at. Again, people are just so separate in their points of view, and they're just more extreme, as donating Carmelo Anthony or Shiloh Hendricks, for example. Like, people are just getting more divided in their opinion about what should happen to many subjects, and it just seems like we're so opposite apart from each other. It just seems like there was small differences in if you voted Democrat or Republican. It was like, how much should we charge in taxes, or what kind of regulation should we put in for tax break. It seemed like it was just taxes, but
just like finances,
civil rights.
I mean, even like Obama was like against gay marriage when he ran the first time.
Right. Or at least he said. I mean, probably because it wasn't a smart thing to say that he was probably wasn't. I bet you he was probably pro, but you can't really say that because then you probably wouldn't win your primary and then you wouldn't become president.
You wouldn't win your primary in your Democratic base.
Yeah, because I think it was a different time.
Yeah. Just at the time, people were like, well, no, like a lot of people, even, I don't want to out a relative, but like whatever, I know someone that was like, well, why do they have to get married? Like, why can't they just call it something else?
Yeah.
Like a civil union and maybe have all the rights of marriage, but like, it's not marriage.
That was a very common point of view.
Yeah. Like, marriage should be reserved for a man and a woman. That's what marriage is. But you can have your thing that's like adjacent and equal to that, but call it something else.
But equal.
I guess that didn't go over too well.
No, it never does.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of ran in. It was like, once that happened, once gay marriage was kind of approved, then you just go down the slippery slope. And now
what's next?
Yeah, there's always something. There's always a battle to be fought in the culture war. So, but yeah, I mean, I think probably Obama, Hillary, all those people. Like, I was always pro gay marriage ever since I can remember, since I knew what it was. I don't know if I am anymore. It's because of how crazy things.
I don't even remember like caring.
Yeah.
Like, ever. I was just like, do gay people even, I remember thinking like, do gay people even want to get married? Marriage seems horrible. Everyone's getting divorced. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, if you want to be unhappy like the rest of us, go ahead. I guess is how I felt.
That was the trope. That's what everybody really cared. Yeah. I guess it was just like the older generation was kind of around, had some, and they kind of probably died off within the last decade or two, and things changed. But anyway, I gotta go. Thank you very much, Anna. This was very informative, very fun.
Yes, I enjoyed it, even though it kind of took more of a serious turn towards the end. It was still a thoughtful conversation, and I appreciate it.
It did. We did get some super chats, so I want to get those on. Garrett, he says, T-6 hours. Happy birthday, mouth breather. I believe that's to you.
Thank you, Garrett. I appreciate that.
Very good. Thanks, G-Dog. Good to have you back. I haven't seen him in a while in the chat, so I'm glad he's here today. And Philip says, God bless. I guess that's Joe the Supermark, right? He may not be in the chat anymore.
Yes.
But I still feel his presence. Good show. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sure that, Philip, that means a lot to Joe because he is waiting on bated breath as he inhales his pizza on Wednesday night.
Is that his pizza?
I don't know. I just made that up, but he sends me a picture every time he has like a salad or a piece of fruit. But
yeah,
rare.
I was going to start doing that with you too, because I've been back in the gym this week.
Yes. How's that going?
It's going really good. I'm enjoying it. I'm actually lifting weights now. I was like, let me just start using the machines, and then I was like, oh, fuck this. I'm ready to go. So using the free weights, doing the cardio. I went 5 days last week, went 3 days this week.
Dude,
so
you're killing it.
I'm back in, baby. I'm back in.
How do you feel? Are you like super sore or are you like fine?
Yes, very sore. Well, actually, so far this week, just kind of sore. It feels good. To be a little sore feels good.
Good.
A lot sore like I was last week was not good.
Not good.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it. So
That's perfect. Great job. Proud of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to Garrett and Phil for the super chats. Much appreciated. Head over to hmbradio.substack.com. Subscribe for free. Get the podcast early, audio only. Or if you subscribe, you get the whole kit and caboodle, uncensored, right now. I'm going to upload it. Actually, I might grab dinner first since it's late, but then I'm going to upload the Substack. You have the whole podcast, audio only. You won't have to wait till Sunday. But do subscribe to the YouTube, willsyoutube.com. And the Rumble, if you're over there, subscribe there. Subscribe both places. That would be helpful. And thanks for the comments. Leave thumbs up. That helps out a lot. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.